Hello YouTube, I'm Jack Clark, the Eagle Musketeer, coming to you with another video. Hello, how are you? So of course today I'm coming to you with a video, a deck profile. This deck profile is going to be introducing some of the new cards that will be coming out in the new set Cosmo Blazar that it will be hitting the TCG relatively soon. So, with that in mind, of course, we've got the new cards, the Fire Fists, coming out, who are a very cool Beast Warrior archetype, of course, of the Fire attribute, that utilise the Fire Formation spell cards. However, the Fire Formation spell cards are very interesting because they are not specific to the Fire Fists, or specifically to Fire monsters. They are Beast Warrior support, generic Beast Warrior support, mind you. So, of course, I thought, well, what Beast Warrior decks could potentially utilise this? So this is where this deck came into being, in which I have tried my best to kind of reinvigorate the Koa'ki Meirus to their core, to make it so to their core. I can't believe I just said that. I just made the core joke. Oh dear God. But yes, of course, I'm trying to do a more pure Koa'ki Meiru deck. I say pure, but basically I'm trying to make a Koa'ki Meiru deck that's good and isn't rock stun. So, first off, I'm going to go through the deck list, and then I'm going to tell you what you can do with the deck and what my choices were. So, first off, we've got 1 copy of Brotherhood of the Fire-Fisted Bear, 3 copies of Giant Rat, 1 Gauze the Emissary Darkness, 2 Grandsword the Elemental Lord, 3 Koa'ki Meiru Boulder, 3 Koa'ki Meiru Crusader, and 3 Koa'ki Meiru Knight. Next off, for the spell lineup, we have 2 creature swaps, 1 Dark Hole, 3 Fire Formation 10 keys, 1 Heavy Storm, 2 Iron Core of Koa'ki Meiru, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Pot of Duality. And now for our traps, we have 2 Call of the Haunted, 3 Horn of the Phantom Beast, the Sullen Brigade, and a couple of Torrentials. I'm not going to go through the extra deck or the side. The side is just stuff I've been working through, and of course I will talk about those later. And of course any key cards, oh my phone's gone off, and any key cards that pertain directly to the deck's aim, then I'll cover them in the extra deck as well. So of course, like I said, this is a Koa'ki Meiru deck. Now the Koa'ki Meirus, of course, have been notorious for having really strong attacks, really strong effects, but a crippling conditional, which means that, of course, they get destroyed during the end of the turn unless you either discard an Iron Core of Koa'ki Meiru or reveal a appropriate card in your hand. That card normally being another monster that shares the same type, although there are some exceptions. Now, of course, this works well for Rock Stun, because actually, the Koa'ki Meiru monsters they have, which are Rock type, actually work all together. So we have the Wall, the Guardian, and the Sandman, which you contribute them all to negate a specific kind of card, a monster, spell, or trap. However, the rest of the kind of the Koa'ki Meirus only really worked, they don't really work as their own deck, which is terrifying. It's annoying for, because actually they only worked really well if you tech them in respective decks that shared their type. So of course something like Koa'ki Meiru Berserk, which is a warrior which can attack twice, would only really be good in a warrior deck, because of course Koa'ki Meirus can't utilise it as efficiently as a warrior deck can, since the revealing cost of the Koa'ki Meirus is much more easier to accomplish than the discarding one. So that was what I had in mind for this deck, because the Koa'ki Meirus have some stupidly good cards, but of course it's quite hard to work around them. So, with the new advent of the new Beast Warrior support, I thought I'd make a Koa'ki Meiru deck which is kind of more focused on their best and their Beast Warrior cards, I love their Beast Warrior stuff, because it includes Koa'ki Meiru Knight, which is a 2000 attack point summoner monk, and with no cost. The only cost for it is, of course, that you have to once per turn reveal an Iron Core of Koa'ki Meiru in your hand, and then you get to special summon a level 4 or lower Koa'ki Meiru monster from your deck, except Knight. That's brilliant, because either way, it means you can do either an instant egg seize, or of course, you will be going for Koa'ki Meiru Crusader, although of course you can go for Boulder, but Crusader, of course, is a 1900 attack point beater that, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get a Koa'ki Meiru card from your graveyard to your hand. So, in addition to being able to reuse spent Knights, spent Crusaders, and Boulders, you are also able to get back Iron Cores of Koa'ki Meiru if they've gone to the graveyard, which is always good, because, of course, you may find yourself in the position where not only are you going to be revealing it for Knight's effect, you may have to discard it to keep some of your Koa'ki Meirus on the field. However, with this deck, I have found that that's not truly the case. It's not really been necessary too much, which is why, of course, I'm only using 2. Of course, people can use 3, however, I'm using 2 for space, in addition to the fact that, of course, this is more focused on aggro, and as much as I like to be able to maintain it, the fact that I can search for my Crusaders and my Knights so instantaneously with my Tenki, my Fire Formation Tenki, means that if they do get destroyed, I'm not going to shed a tear, because I can either search for a new one, or, of course, you could use Call of the Haunted to summon it back from the graveyard. But in addition to the Koa'ki Meiru monsters being destroyed during the end phase, there are many ways, of course, that can be utilised to make sure that that doesn't happen, that they don't get destroyed. Since their initial release, of course, we now have the advent of Xyz monsters, which means, of course, oh no, my Crusader and my Knight, during the end phase, I do not have a Beast Warrior in my hand, I don't have an Ichor to discard either, so I can overlay them for Gemini Pearl, or Go Cowboy, or some other very good rank 4 monster. Of course, it may not be as good as, I don't know, keeping the Crusader and Knight, but if they're going to get destroyed, you might as well get a nice monster out of it, especially if it's a Maestro, which of course can protect itself. In addition to that, we are also using Grand Soul, which is also another very good Beast Warrior monster that was released, and of course, this deck isn't particularly one that can... It does have some degree of graveyard manipulation with Call of the Haunted and such, and I guess Koa'ki Meiru Crusader, of course, being able to get Koa'ki Meirus from the graveyard as well. But of course, it's a much slower deck, which means actually the pace at which you put Earths into the graveyard can be greatly much easier to control with Grand Soul in mind. So you can summon Grand Soul and then, of course, reborn one of your opponent's monsters from their graveyard, or of course, summon an Knight and then go off with another effect. But that's pretty much the deck. I mean, my trap lineup is pretty hefty. I quite like it as well, in which it uses Horn of the Phantom Beast just to control, and that is a brilliant card, which with 800 extra boost and a draw, love it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please say in the comments down below if you liked the deck, or if you have any suggestions, and what you'd like to see in the future. But of course, I'm Jack Clark, the Eagle Musketeer. More videos coming out soon, but until then, goodbye.